everyone, welcome back to the React series. Last time, if you remember, we set up our project and built our very first component. So today we will unlock the real superpower of React that I called reusability with props. So the goal for today is simple, that is write once and use anywhere. Let's go. Let's do a quick recap. So, what we did in the first video is we set up our project with Vite. We created a component and we wrote JSX inside it. But if you observe, there was one problem, that is, our component always shows the same thing every single time. So, today we learn how to fix that. Okay, let's see what we will cover today in this video. We will learn three major or core concepts, that is reusability, props, and destructuring. Reusability means we make a component once and we can use it as many times as we want. Second concept is props, which are the input or argument that we pass into the function, and we pass data into a component through props. The third concept is destructuring. It is a more cleaner way to read those props actually. So by the end of this video, one component will give us three different outputs. Okay. Now let's understand that why even there is a need to study reusability. So let's in like there must be no problem, right? That we are studying reusability, and the problem here is you can see this code. In this code, there are three functions, and all these function is doing the same thing, that is printing or greeting different people. But let's say I have to greet 50 users, then in that case I have to make 50 functions, and all would be doing the same thing, that is greeting different person. So this would make the code very lengthy as well as hectic also. So that is why the concept of reusability comes into the scene. React's core principle states that we don't need to repeat ourselves. We have to make a component once and then we have to reuse it. That is the fundamental concept or a major principle of React. Okay. To understand the concept of reusability, you can think of it of a stamp, which a stamp or a rubber stamp that is used to print shapes at different placements. So just think reusability like that only. We can make a component once and then you can use it many times. Now, what are props? Props are short for properties, and these are the arguments that we pass into the function. Okay. So with props, you should also know that a component is a function. All right. And function take inputs or arguments, and the arguments or inputs that we pass into the functions are props basically. So also there is one more thing, that the data always flow from parent to child, that is there is a one flow, there is the data flow in only one direction. Okay, that is from parent to child, that is we declare the values for the fields in the parent component, and then it is catched by the child component. So I already told you that the props flow one way, that is parent to child. Always the values would be catched by the child, and the child decide how to display it. So you can write styling in the child component. There are some quick rules while we pass props, that is the string will always be in quotation. Okay, so it needs to be enclosed in quotation marks, the string values, whereas the numbers and variables need to be enclosed in curly braces. So, guys, I think you must have understood the theory. Now, the next part is we will learn all the three concepts through programming. We'll make a component, we'll reuse it through props, and then we'll follow a more cleaner approach, that is called destructuring, to write the code, which works in the real code base. So, for that, you have to go in your SRC folder, right click, and make a new folder, name it components, because in React.js. everything is, the first thing we do is make a components folder, and because components are an integral part over here. And then in component folder you have to make your first component. Let's name it greetings.jsx. So what we'll do in code is we will be greeting different people by reusing our code and passing inputs through props. So you have to write code in your greeting file, make a functional component. And if you remember, I told you guys that it's a good practice to name the functional component and the file name same because it avoids confusion. So we made a functional component greetings, and then we have to pass a input or argument in the functional component, that is props. Props stands for properties. Next, what we have to do, we want to return um, different names, okay, but I don't need to make different function components for that. Only one functional component will do the work by using props. So I made an h2 tag, and to make things easier, you can understand props as a box. Now we are unpacking, or we are taking items out of this props box. So what you have to do is, let's print hello, mm, props dot name. That is, we are taking items out of the box. Props is a box, and we are taking item, that is name, out of the box. And the reason I am enclosing this in curly braces is because we have to we have to run it as JavaScript to print the result. And if we don't write it in curly braces, then it will print hello and props dot name, but we have to print the value. That is why we have to run it as JavaScript. So that's the reason we enclosed it in curly braces. Next, I also want to print the age. I want to greet the person and say that you are this years old. So hello props now dot name. You are, mm, what we'll write here, props dot age years old. Okay. So this is a statement that I wish to print. Now, to make this file available for other files, what we need to do, we need to export this. So we'll just export this component. Okay. Now, as I exported my greeting component, I need to import it, right? So let's import mm, greetings. All right. So that app knows that that it needs to use this file. And remember, in props the values flows from parent to child, not from child to parent. So we have to pass values here, and then the values would be catched through the child component. Okay, so let's make a functional component again. Function app. Now I need to return the values. So I'll return the greeting component, let's say 3 times. Let's enclose it in a div tag to make it cleaner. And you can use the greetings tag as many times as you want. Okay. So as I said that the values flows from parents to child. So in this tag you have to pass certain values. And also we are using props because we need to wish different people with different age. So now I can pass different values in all these 3 tags. So let's print the values. All right. So you notice that I wrote the name in quotation marks and the numbers in curly braces. This is a practice because you have to remember this, that you have to enclose the numbers, variables as well as booleans in curly braces, and always the string in quotation marks. You can print different name with age values over here as well. All right. So we modified the names and printed it three times so that we can greet different person with different age. Now also we have to export our app component because we are importing it in main.jsx over here. Okay. So this will print. So our code is complete, and it. Let's check if we were able to print and greet Aisha, Kabir, and Rahul. Okay, so you can see that we have successfully printed or greeted three-person with different age values. Now the next thing is, let's clean up the code using destructuring, and this code works in the real code base. So for destructuring, what you need to do is, instead of passing or writing props over here, you just have to unpack the data. So you'll just write the data, that is name and age, and instead of writing props dot name, you just have to write name and age. Now also let's make one more change over here so that we can check if we have successfully applied destructuring concept. Let's greet one more person over here named mm, Alia, and age be 56. It's important to close the tag. Let's check if we were able to print it. Okay. So as you can see, we were able to print the fourth person name, or the we were able to greet the fourth person as well. Now let's understand the concept of destructuring in a little bit more detail by taking another example where we will be passing multiple props and a default value. So in components folder, we'll make another file. Let's name it profile. In the profile file, we'll start by writing our function component. Let's unpack the data for name, role, and let's say city. And I am declaring a default value over here, because just imagine that if a user in case forgets to declare a value for city, then in that case unknown would be printed. Okay, now I have to return name, role, and city. Let's enclose it in a div tag, and let's return name in a heading. Okay, so why we are writing in this curly braces? Because we want to run JavaScript and print the value for name and not just name. That is why. Now we'll be printing the value for role in the same way in paragraph tag, let's say, and city. Okay. Now to make this component available to other files, we'll just export it. So now we have to use this component elsewhere, that is in the parent component. You can delete these tags that we made earlier because we will be using profile, right? So just import profile component. You can reuse it many times. Let's say I want to print the role, name, and city for three people. So I'll reuse it three times. Okay. Now let's declare the values. The string has to be enclosed in quotation marks. Next, need to declare the role. Let's say web developer. The city be Mumbai. Now you can just copy these and change the values according to you. Okay. Let's remove this value of city for the third person to see if we successfully printed unknown, because I told that if we didn't declare the value for city, then by default this value called unknown would be printed. Okay, let's check. Refresh the page. Okay, you can see that we successfully printed the name, the role, and the city for 3%. So that was a cleaner way to write code, and I hope you understood the concept of the destructuring now. So, guys, before we end this session, let's do a quick recap. We learned about the concept of reusability, which is we make one component and use it many times. Secondly, we learned props, that is to pass data from parent to child, and the data always flows in one direction. The third concept we explored was destructuring, that we learned because that is how we write code in real world, and we do that so that our code is much cleaner. Okay, so that was all for today, and if props finally click for you, smash that like button, subscribe so you don't miss the next video on another amazing topics. We'll cover React in full detail in this series. So yeah, just wait for the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.